Everybody, I'm sorry I haven't been on here in a while to do one of these. This is probably going to be a short one, but I just wanted to stop in and say that I haven't been on here as much because there's so much negativity going on, and whenever you have negative things going on in your real life, it's hard to come to the place that you're going to for entertainment and social interaction and come into a negative space there too. I also feel like there's a lot of people trying to create tension between the creators, and I hope that it doesn't work. I hope, I think sometimes as subs, we get more upset for the creators than they do for themselves. Like if somebody comes in and says something negative about one of the creators, or if a creator says something that maybe to us sounds a little negative towards another creator, I think we take it more personally and get more upset than the actual creators do. And then we also have to remember that there are people that definitely want to see infighting. So they are purposely going around making up rumors in chats to start shit. So remember, if you're in a chat and you hear a rumor tossed out or you see one tossed out in the chat, try not to immediately go to bashing the creator that the rumor's about because you don't know if it's true. Please wait and get a receipt for it or hear it from that creator before you jump to conclusions, because that's what's going to cause the problems in this community, is whenever we hear a rumor and immediately take it for truth, or see something typed in a chat and immediately take it for truth, and then we start bashing that creator because we're upset by it, and then it turns out to not be true, and then the damage is already done. So I'm not trying to dictate anybody, I swear. I'm just reminding you that there are people trying to do this. So just remember that whenever you hear or see things that are about a creator. I'm also personally tired of hearing the same problems over and over again about creators. Like, we've all heard it, we've all seen it. If it's something from a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we know we've heard it 5,000 times. Like, shoving it in people's faces over and over isn't going to change anything. People make their decisions and they've made it. We're going to move forward. And if you don't like what that creator did, you don't have to listen or watch, just don't. If they aren't continuing the behavior and causing problems, then just leave it alone. Now, like, BJ continues to do the shit that is problematic. So whenever we bring up things that she did a year ago, she's still doing it. Her boyfriend is still being a bigot. He is still saying things behind her. She is still threatening lawsuits. Like, all of this is still happening. So it's different than somebody who said something almost 2 years ago being brought up again and again. And I'm just going to say, again, I've said this 1,000 times, but I believe that a lot of hate is created by ignorance, by not being exposed. And I don't believe that cutting someone off is the way to solve it. I think exposure and introducing them to the thing that they hate is a better way of changing a behavior. Now, if it's somebody that's just outright every other word, like, I wouldn't go into JB's chat and try to change him. Like, he's set in his ways. There's, no. But people that have said something and I haven't heard anything since or seen any behavior since, then I'm going to keep watching. And if something changes and it's brought up again, or that behavior goes back to that, I'm gone. But until that time, I'm going to give this person a chance to change and let them be around the thing that they spoke about. And if they're not acting the same way towards it, then I'm not going to treat them the same, because people change and we have to give them the space to change. People are defending behaviors they would have never agreed with simply because it's against someone they dislike. It's like hate bonding at a whole different level. It's okay to not agree with someone 100% of the time. None of us agree with anyone 100% of the time. I don't agree with my spouse 100% of the time. I don't agree with my kids 100% of the time. There's just definitely not a creator I agree with 100% of the time. We can like people even if they do something that we don't agree with, to an extent. Now, when it crosses our own moral line, then we ourselves decide what we want to do at that time. We can walk away from them, or we can give them a second chance. I myself watched people a while before I even began interacting with anyone, because I realized we have no idea who we're chatting with. Everyone wants to point out things that have been said by creators in the past, 2 or 3 years ago. We interact with people in chats daily that have probably done or said worse. Like, I have certain people I regularly look for in chats that I talk to and chat with, and I enjoy talking to. And we talk in every chat that we're in together. But I really have no idea who they are, what they do in real life, how they speak in real life, what their beliefs are, if they're racist, if they're homophobic, if they're an abuser. We have no idea who we're talking to, because people can be anybody on the internet. There's actually creators that I go into their chats and stay in there for a little bit, and then something will be said or a discussion will come up that I don't agree with or don't want to hear, and I just leave. I leave the chat while that's being discussed. I don't write them off and cuss them out or whatever. I just leave while that's being discussed, and then I come back when there's something I want to talk about being discussed. And like I said in my written community post, which I'm sure everybody didn't read because it's too long, I'm so sorry. But what I was saying in there is people that are donating to BJ and this legal fund and then watch as they flaunt all these new purchases they're getting, I'm sorry, I feel bad for you, because you're giving to this person that is them going and bragging about smartwatches, smart rings, smart refrigerators, new kitchen cabinets, new bags of clothes. Oh gosh, what else? New monitors, new laptops, new microphones. And I just have this question for you, okay? Why did they not, if she has this Best Buy line of credit, okay, and she's acting like she's had it, why didn't they buy all this stuff at the beginning of the year or with their tax return or at Christmas time? Why, right after this fundraiser started, did they start buying stuff on this line of credit? Just ask yourself that, because to me, that seems really, really fishy. Like, if this is a line of credit she's had, then why in the world did she wait until now to start buying all of this stuff? And I plan on starting doing timelines for each creator that BJ is now looking at going after legally, whatever she's doing, because she's wanting to say that all of this is based on the injunction with Granny, when in reality, most of these creators started interacting with her before the injunction even happened. And it was BJ that initiated all of the negative back and forth. And I know that a lot of these creators gave her a chance to stop, drop it, knock it off, work it out, whatever, at one point in time. And she would not. She kept going as usual, as she has done with Granny numerous times. Ask for her to stop and she won't, because this is her channel. This is her content. She doesn't make as much money whenever she is on her true crime content where she cannot stay awake. That is what her second channel was. It was created to do drama. It was created to keep drama off of her true crime channel. But now she wants to say that she's out of drama, that she doesn't want to do drama, that's just her backup channel. No, that was created specifically to put drama on. And I'm not self-promoting, and I know it's a long video, but if you haven't watched my latest video about the injunction and how Granny got added, it's a very informational video, because I take the messages that have been exposed from BJ behind the scenes and how it involved Granny and how it ended up with her being added because they figured out she was in Pennsylvania and that BJ had clips saved. Okay, and that's how she got added into this, in my opinion, when I look at the layout of how things happened. Granny never used the verbiage that people are going around claiming she did, okay? There are people that used that verbiage. They aren't getting sued, and a matter of fact, they weren't even talked about very much after they said those things. So why is everybody so down on Granny for what she said? She did not do anything different than other creators did to the Proudfoots or to Seth. There are other people that have said worse things about Seth. They weren't added. Like, it's insane to me that everybody is over here saying that she deserved it, when the real reason is only because BJ had been trying to go legal against Granny since at least April of 2024, whenever she tried to get CJ involved in going legal against Granny, up until she figured out that she could jump on to this injunction and go after Granny at no cost. That was probably the highlight of BJ's life when she heard that. And she thought that she could destroy Granny. And all everyone wants to say is, all Granny had to do was shut up. All she had to do was shut up. No, that's not true. Granny never got a CND, so she didn't have the option to just shut up and have no repercussions from it. And I guess Clue said the other day that she didn't receive one from At Night either, so apparently Barbecue was the only one that received it. So Granny didn't have the option to just shut up. She immediately got thrown into this injunction that she had to agree to all these stipulations that wasn't just shut up. It was deleting most of her content if it had anything about any of the 10 plaintiffs in it. It was reimbursing them for any costs they had, attorney fees. There were punitive damages asked for. And then people probably don't know this because it wasn't put into the paperwork, but if you're doing a RICO in the state of Pennsylvania, the payout is 3 times the amount. So if they had won against Granny and Barbecue, say Lesniak's attorney fees were $100,000. They're not, but let's say that, okay? Then Granny would have had to pay $100,000 times 10 plaintiffs, and each plaintiff, it would be tripled. So it would be $300,000 for each plaintiff. That is crazy. And it was things like requesting money for research, for investigational things. How are they calculating that? Where's the record of that? And were they going to charge the retainer fee for every plaintiff, even though they didn't pay it? But that's what he would normally charge. There was so many questions with that, but they were definitely asking for money. So when VJ keeps saying, we didn't want money, we didn't ask for money, yeah, that was part of it. And even with the offer of paying him $500 and agreeing to all of the things on the injunction, still, that was deleting content and telling her audience that they can't talk about negatively about the plaintiffs and that she can't talk negatively about the plaintiffs anymore. You cannot tell me that these creators would have agreed to that. That's crazy. Nobody should have to agree to that. Granny went from knowing nothing to finding out she's in this injunction after it was filed in court and sent out to YouTube creators before they even knew about it. So when she found out about it, it was already filed in the courts. And what was filed in the courts was accusing her of being part of RICO, which is a criminal thing, okay? So how in the world, if they really believed that they were doing something criminal and interfering with a search, why would they be okay with taking $500 and telling them to delete all of their content about them and not talk about them? Like, how does that make sense? We're saying that you're this criminal who's interfering with the search for a missing child, but if you pay us $500 and delete all that content, we'll call it even. That makes no sense to me at all, in my opinion, okay? And then I'll also hear people saying that the lawsuit with Tony is her fault and she should have shut up when she got the C&D. Well, so this is how in my opinion, how it played out and what I remember. JLR posted stuff about Tony last year, and he posted all of the lawsuits that he had on X, on YouTube, and on Facebook. JLR has a pretty big reach, especially on 3 platforms. And he had put out the information about the church and all of that from what I remember reading. And that had never been taken down. It had never been demanded to be taken down on any of the sites. And he hadn't gotten sued for it. So whenever Granny reviewed that, at the point that Julie has now already talked about Tony also, Granny reviewed it from JLR's content. And why would she think that that wasn't accurate? Because it was still posted, it hadn't been taken down. He hadn't been sued for it. There wasn't any corrections made. So this information had been out for a long amount of time. Why didn't he sue JLR for it? Why didn't he sue Julie for it? In my opinion, I can understand why Granny repeated it the way she did, because that's how it had been put out last year. And then when she got the C&D about the church stuff, she corrected it. She went on her public stream and said, I was wrong. This is how I read it and I was wrong. So she did try to correct it. And in my opinion, it feels like retaliation for the lawsuit in Pennsylvania, because he hasn't had a problem with other people repeating this information. Look, I understand if you don't like Granny. You can not like her voice, not like the way she covers things, not like how loud she talks, not like whatever it is, okay? Everybody has the right to dislike who they dislike. But I don't understand how people can cheer on taking people to court over words said on the internet. How in the world did Granny interfere with the search for Sebastian in Tennessee when she never left Pennsylvania? How? I don't understand how I could not cheer this on for anybody. Even if this was BJ, if it was being done to her, I could not cheer on her having to go to court, her having to raise money to defend herself against something that every other creator in Krama has done. All of these things that have been said by multiple creators. So I don't understand how people can have enough hate for somebody that they don't really know, that they are happy about them going through something like this. I don't understand that. And I guess I'm happy I don't understand it, because you have to be a really hate-filled person to feel happy about that. I don't know. I just sometimes wish that everybody would stop and slow down and really look around at what's happening in this community. And that everyone wouldn't jump so quickly to conclusions brought around by subs that are stirring the pot on purpose because they love the chaos. They love to see the fighting. Don't believe everything you see. Don't believe everything you hear. Wait for the receipt. Ask for the receipt. Because there's some shady shit going on. And I don't know what it is. I can't tell you exactly what it is. But if you really pay attention, you can see where the red flags are and where the red flags aren't. Queen Bee and Granny have attorneys. The receipt for that is the fact that motions being filed constantly, that there's things happening, because attorneys don't work for free. They don't. And Granny's receipt soon enough is going to be public for everybody, because it's going to be part of the judgment against the 10 plaintiffs, because they're going to owe back those attorney fees. So everyone's going to see what exactly she's paid soon enough. So that question can be put to rest. I don't understand why people think that she is committing fraud with this or scamming with this legal pun, because seriously, she has an attorney working for her. If you've dealt with an attorney, you know that they're charging you for everything, and you have to think how much he has done in this case, the amount of pages in their filings, the amount of videos that he's had to watch, the amount of emails he's had to read and write, all of that costs money, a lot of money. And Granny gets detailed receipts from what she pays every month. So I don't understand why anybody thinks that that's not a real thing, or that she's taking money in off of this that's not going to her attorney. That's crazy to me, but everybody will see soon enough. I think through the court, a lot of things are going to come to light that people have been spreading falsely around the community. And I'm sure there won't be apologies because it's Granny, right? I don't know. Okay. Thanks for listening. I will try to get some more out soon. I'm going to work on the timelines, but I'm not moving very fast these days, so I apologize. But a lot of these anti-Granny channels don't even realize that she doesn't come on here much anymore. All of us, the subs that enjoy her, miss her coming on every morning and doing her daily show about whatever. You know, it didn't matter what she was talking about. We enjoyed it. It was our morning routine. She rarely comes on here now because it's always something new, something stressful, some bullshit being started. And she gets blamed for everything. Everything goes back to, it's because of Granny, it's because of the injunction, whatever. So she's rarely even on here anymore. And that's sad. Y'all don't even think about the stress that has been put on her because you don't like her. Like, you just don't care. And it's unreal to me. Like, really pay attention to how this affects people. Look at how little she has been on here. Everybody wants to talk about the dogpiling and things that happen to BJ, which isn't happening, but somehow it's always blamed on Granny when she's hardly even around. She doesn't even go in the chats. She may stop into a chat where BJ's being discussed because that's what all the channels are talking about, but she doesn't stay in there because she doesn't like to listen to BJ's voice. So, I don't know. It's really disappointing to see so many people with so little empathy, and that's why I haven't been around much. I'm ready to get back to laughing, to Saturday Night Live shows, to bugs jumping on phones and Granny screaming, to fun things, to laughing and not worrying about what new lawsuit is going to come out with the next live stream. I guess that's all I have to say for now. I hope everybody's having a good hump day and has a great weekend coming up.